What's going on, everyone? This is Frank with Frankly Collecting. It is time for another MetaZoo Top 5 eBay Sales of the Week video. We are looking at a variety of MetaZoo products from a bunch of different sets. Now, there's a lot of economic bad news going around right now and sort of a lot of negativity around the markets and including collectibles. So we're going to kind of see what's going on this week in the MetaZoo market and see if we can make any sort of speculative guesses around any connections between the two. All right, first up, we have this Mothman Nightfall First Edition PSA 10 card. Now, this sold for $168.50 with shipping included. I've got to say, I know this Mothman is not on the reserved list, but you have to understand that even if they reprint this card, people are going to want to go after that first edition version. And this is an epic artwork of Mothman. Now, this is the second Mothman art, unless there were some promos that I'm missing that came in between the first edition and this Nightfall version. It's got a lot of hollow to it. He's shooting like laser eyes. It's just such a different vibe of Mothman. I think it's a lot more fun even than the very first classic art of Mothman. I think this one's going to have a lot of potential going forward. There's been kind of this down market around Nightfall, and I think there's this impression that there are just a lot of these Mothman cards, and people are maybe going after the original Mothman or just other MetaZoo products in general. You know, I think as this set ages, this is going to become a classic card. And remember, if they reprint this card, it is not going to be in the first edition. People will want to go after that first edition. When I pulled this card, it was a little bit off center. There's definitely not a PSA 10 in every single pack fresh Mothman. So it'd be interesting in the pop report to see kind of what the percentage of PSA 10 of this card are versus PSA 9s and even 8s and below. And yeah, if MetaZoo just continues to grow its audience and it continues to be a viable franchise going forward, I think there's just going to be a lot of upward potential with this card. I think that this is actually a pretty fair price for it, given the current market at this time. Okay, next up, we have a raw card from Wilderness. This is the Full Hollow Prism Aura. I do think this is a really beautiful card, even though it does not have a beastie or a caster on it. Now, Chester Cheetah commented in my last top 5 video that this was the most expensive card in the set. It would be interesting to see what a PSA 10 of this would go for. Now, a raw card can be a good bet because a lot of these cards are going to be pack fresh if they are listed in near mint condition. Although you have to definitely check out those pictures for the centering and any kind of whitening on the edges. You can definitely pull cards pack fresh that are off-centered or have some kind of factory defects, especially whitening in the edges or in the corners. Now, this is an Aura card, and I do not play the game, I just collect, so it'd be interesting to know if this has some kind of viability in the meta, in the actual gameplay of the game, and that would definitely push the price up a little bit. But I think it's just a great Aura card in general, and I think will hold its own for collectors going forward. All right, right here we have a MetaZoo Nightfall First Edition booster box selling for $188.98, including shipping. Now, this has been trending down steadily, and you are seeing them around this $180 range, plus or minus shipping. Now, I think this can be a good price to get in on this product. It has been coming down a lot. Now, some people have been talking about like MetaZoo's been kind of losing its hype or whatever lately, and I really am sticking to my thesis that there are just a lot of macroeconomic factors. I mean, people are throwing around the word recession a lot right now. Stocks really came down a lot this week, and they have been coming down for quite a while. Collectibles as a whole are down across the board. Go check out Rudy from Alpha Investments' most recent video as of the making of this one, talking about how there's just so much negativity. And of course, collectibles is going to be a part of that. You know, you have inflation and all of these things happening in the world and so much bad news, and people are kind of shoring up capital and being a little bit wary with what they're buying. So considering that MSRP for these booster boxes is, I think for Nightfall, $139.99, it's still holding a pretty resilient price in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that the bottom is here. It could go down further. Of course, you know, I'm just giving you my speculation. It could start skyrocketing tomorrow if people start buying it out or something. I don't think there's a rush to go get this product right now, but I do think that the declining price on Nightfall is not really a warning sign around MetaZoo as a whole. I think it is a byproduct of the collectibles market. It's part of these larger macroeconomic factors. So I think these prices are getting pretty good for getting in on these boxes right now, but I also think there's not really a rush. I mean, inflation's not going away tomorrow. The stock market is not skyrocketing back up to record highs tomorrow, probably. I mean, this is, again, all speculation. You can't predict these markets. There's still a war going on. The pandemic is ongoing. So I think you've got time on a lot of this stuff, but I also do not think that it is just crashing and going to zero. I think there's a lot of complicated factors at play. So this is the story of Nightfall. It is down to around $188. So let me know what you think about Nightfall prices at this moment down in the comments below. Now here's one I haven't seen in a while. This is the Gazen Dieta release event promo from the very first edition Kryptonation base set. Now I don't think there's a Kickstarter version of this card. It is on the reserved list, meaning it will never be reprinted again. And there are only 4,000 of these printed in total. Now this one sold for $51.69 and an additional $4.99 shipping. Now this card has broken $100 in the past. I have gotten several copies of this. I think I have 5 or 6 or something around that number. And I have definitely paid more than this $51.69 price tag for this card. Now I think what's happening is that people in MetaZoo are really focused on whatever the most recent news or promo or collaboration is. And so some of these more niche items, especially from past sets, are kind of falling by the wayside. Now I think that there is opportunity in this card. This is just my speculation, not financial advice, but it is a reserved list card. It will never be printed again. 4,000 copies is not that much. If a lot of people get behind this card, go after collecting it organically, I could see this one being a potential buyout target. It's also, in my opinion, the best release event promo from the Kryptonation base set. I think Mancheck Swamp Priestess is also up there contending for first place. But I really favor this card because it is a dragon. The eye appeal is really nice. I mean, he's like in this underground layer on piles of gold, and there's a skull down there, and he's casting fire. I mean, everything is going right with this card. And people love dragons, so even if they're not that familiar with MetaZoo, once they get into it, I think they would gravitate to this card once they are doing a little bit more of a deeper dive and learning about the reserve list and looking at older cards. And I also believe that this card in particular would look really great in a PSA graded slab. I mean, not only does that red border look great with the PSA label, but there's like a lot of red sort of tones in the artwork, and he's breathing fire. And in person, this card looks great too. The holo looks really nice. I just think that this card is firing on all cylinders. I don't think really the market agrees with me, but I've always really enjoyed this card. And maybe if it keeps getting lower, I'll start buying a few more. Maybe I can fit it in my budget. But Gazen Dieta, a great card, and definitely something you should check out if you are interested in anything MetaZoo. Okay, last but certainly not least, we have the classic Mothman Full Holo First Edition, not the Kickstarter, but in PSA 10 grade, selling for $485 and $5.95 shipping in an auction. Now this is a little bit lower than it used to be. I think I saw that it was running like 2 or 3 times this much at some point. The YouTuber Invest Daily was talking about how these are down from highs that were, I think, 2 or 3 times above this. I do think it's nice to follow this card because it is kind of like the Charizard for MetaZoo and can thus be a good barometer or tool for thinking about the market as a whole around MetaZoo. And if you take this card as just such an indicator, it does tell us that MetaZoo is down right now, but I think it is really proving resilient if you back up and look at it within a larger context of all the macroeconomic things going on. $485 is not a bad price for this in PSA 10. Now, when I was opening my first edition boxes, I had bought 2 first edition boxes way back when they were like $150 from Channel Fireball. And one of my boxes I think had no Mothman or maybe 1 reverse holo, but I did get another box that had 3 full holo Mothman. So if you think about them, if they all got PSA 10s, even buying a booster box at $700 or $800, you'd be making profit off of that. Of course, you're likely not going to get PSA 10s on every single one. A lot of times the centering's a little bit off, or there's a little bit of whitening on the edges or corners, which in my opinion should actually put a larger premium on PSA 10s than you're seeing, because MetaZoo cards are not perfect, just like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering cards are not perfect, even if they are pulled fresh out of a booster pack. So I think that this is just showing a little bit of weakness right now. I do think that if MetaZoo continues to expand its audience, and there is an uptick in the economy as a whole and in collectibles and in MetaZoo, that this is going to be one of the first cards to really exponentially have a premium placed on it. This is not financial advice, it's just my speculation. But it is the classic card in the set. I mean, it does not get any more classic than a hollow first edition Mothman from the very first base set Kryptonation of MetaZoo. That artwork is iconic by now. I wouldn't waste too much time on the reverse hollows unless you can really get a good deal. There are a good deal fewer of the full hollow ones. So if you're one of those people who's just really looking for one particular card and you even want to get multiples of that card, and you're thinking, what is the chase card, the ultimate chase card to get, it is going to be this first edition Mothman, if not the Kickstarter version. I think the first edition one is a very good alternative because of the huge prices of that Kickstarter one. Here, I think there's still a lot of untapped potential with this card. That does it for this week's top 5 MetaZoo eBay sales. Let me know what you think about the sales this week and what you think these prices mean for the MetaZoo market as a whole. What do you think about MetaZoo prices in relation to larger economic factors happening? And when do you think we are going to start to see an uptick? Make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all in my next video. Thank you.